Good afternoon, Australia, and good evening, America. Welcome back to Radio Toni. This is the Everyday Business Show with your host, Toni Lontis. Just a reminder for all those listening live online on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, there is the gorgeous Peo from the Philippines waiting online to answer your questions, take your comments, and send you links for anything that we talk about today. If you're driving and listening to this, don't forget that you can jump onto Radio Toni and find all the information and links to our fabulous guest today, Annie Gibbins. A reminder too that if you missed the live show and you want to find out more, jump onto Binge Networks if you're listening in the USA, and then across the world, the Toni TV app is available on all LG, Roku, and Samsung smart TVs worldwide. Now, before I introduce you to Annie, here's what you need to know. Annie Gibbins is the transformation queen, internationally recognized corporate CEO, director, keynote speaker, podcast host, creator of magic transformation programs, philanthropist, wife, and mother of 5, including 2 sets of twins. A lot of titles for one woman, but not surprising when you discover her purpose, passion, and power is to raise other women up so they can be more, achieve more, and earn more. With 30 years of professional accolades acknowledging her unique ability to grow and transform health and education businesses across Australasia, it's not surprising her magic transformation program is fast becoming one of the most successful programs on the market for women who want more freedom to achieve success, balance, and fulfillment in their life. When women embrace who they truly are, they acquire success on their own terms, resulting in more balance and fulfillment in all areas of their life. By helping women who work with her to dream bigger and create more magic in their personal and professional life, is it any wonder Annie Gibbins is one of the top women in the corporate world when it comes to female leadership? Annie's tried and true magic transformation program includes a clearly defined methodology and framework which enables her clients to clarify their purpose, call out limiting beliefs, and develop strong business practices that quickly turn dreams and goals into mind-blowing reality. Her story comes to life in her book, Becoming Annie, a biography of a curious woman, and her latest book, Twins, a real-life guide to help you navigate what comes next. Her podcast, Memoirs of a Successful Woman, is one of the most sought-after shows for women to appear on, and a window into the passion she has for celebrating other women and guiding them into living a life with purpose, passion, and authenticity. So I wanted to start the show with one of Annie's favorite motivational quotes. To all the little girls, never doubt you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every chance and opportunity in the world to pursue and achieve your own dreams. And that quote is by Hillary Clinton. Good afternoon, Annie, and welcome to Radio Toni. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Oh, it's such a delight to be joining you today, Toni. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. In the pre-show moments, Annie was talking to us about a recent holiday that she'd had in Tasmania. And for those of you listening that don't know quite where Tasmania is, it's a tiny little dot of a state right at the bottom of Australia, closest to Antarctica. Annie, I'm wondering if you can tell the audience about your trip. It sounded glorious, and I'm sure people want to know all about it.
Well, thank you so much. What a great place to start. Yeah, besides being a business and life transformation specialist, one of the big things I actually have done increasingly as I've got older is actually take time out to really immerse myself in nature, to set up big challenges for myself, to actually get that scary but excited feeling. You know, I think that's always that sort of feeling when you're on the edge of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And so one of those ways is actually by doing some really cool treks. I've trekked Everest Base Camp and Kinabalu in Borneo. And so this one was the overland track in Tasmania, which is unusual to do it in winter. So I put my 18 kilos on my back for 6 days. We walked through snow and rain and a lot of mud, pitching our tents every day out there with ginormous sized possums. and it's a time that I love, because it was a real challenge. It was hard work, going, walking up to 17 Ks a day with that kind of weight for a woman of my size. But it was also the time of really just being out there in nature and seeing the power of nature, waterfalls like you've never seen roaring, wildlife, which is in its natural environment, beautiful bush, which is unadulterated, actually time out to be really mindful. And I found some of my most innovative moments have actually happened while I'm on treks like that. That's how my business Lipstick Consulting got created. That's how I spend time. And I while I'm away, besides doing the trek and having great time with my Trekkie girl pals, I also have time to think. And that's so important, whatever we're doing in business and life, to actually have time to think and to really look at things from a different perspective. Sometimes it's when you take yourself out from the situation that you actually go, why am I doing things that way? Is my balance right? Am I feeling healthy? Am I feeling happy? And for me, particularly, because my focus is obviously empowering women to be more successful on their terms, to actually say, well, what are my terms? Am I still, am I practicing what I preach? Am I being able to be really centered and mindful about the things? So I stay true to myself, because that's my passion in life, to encourage women, right from young girls, to actually go, who do you want to be and why? What is that inner essence? What is that passion in your heart, and what makes you tick, right? And so I had a great time. Thank you.
So, Annie, did you go? It sounds like you went with a small group of girlfriends. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's a bunch of ladies. We're called wild hikers for a reason. And so I went with a group of 9. And we do these fun treks. We've done the coast trek in Australia, which is a 60-kilometre walk in a day. We've done that about 7 times. We've done adventures. We went to Amidablam, which is a mountain about 3 round from Everest. We did that trek. We've done different ones around the world and also locally, just to do exactly what we're doing. We're all women who are busy with our business and lives, but we also understand the value of actually our weekly commit to, hike and to have planned adventures that are going to push ourselves, and that we actually all train for it. We know what we're wanting. And so it's not a competition between each other at all. It's just a collaboration of let's have a healthy lifestyle, and then while we're out, be able to really encourage each other in the authentic space where we're at. And I just absolutely love that. So yes, we really know each other well, and therefore we also know when someone's a little bit off, right? When you actually know people authentically, you also know when something's not right, and that's a really great place to be as well, that I know that they're deep friendship and forged through times of challenge. And that's what I actually notice. Most of my strong relationships, whether it's business, relationships, just general life, have actually deepened because of the challenges. It's how we navigate the challenges in life that actually displays our true essence, right? It's our caliber, our morals, our values. And that's really super powerful.
And I think too that at this time, when we've had the challenge of COVID, I just think it's the best time. It's really challenged our resilience, our ability to function in a new normal, our ability to accept the changing face of what the world looks like, feels like, and what you can and can't do. And I think that's good for humanity. Do you think so too, Annie?
It is, in a weird way. Like, no one wants a global pandemic, but what has it made us? It's actually made us do exactly what I did when I went to Tasmania hiking. I went in winter. I can't go in winter and say, gee, it's cold. Gee, it's harsh. Gee, I wish it was a sunny day. Gee, I wish I didn't have to pitch my tent in 0 degrees. it's winter.
Yes.
And so therefore you have to prepare for the winter and get the value of what the amazing things that come out in that season.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I've done in my business and those that I've been coaching. During COVID, I went, we're in a winter, right? You can't, if you're not, this is a time that I have helped women, launch their businesses as an entrepreneur. I've helped people scale their businesses because you want to prepare for when it's suddenly spring again, right? You want to go, what are you doing? You
and
can't
it will come.
Time saying, oh no, this is terrible. It actually means, well, how are you preparing for your new normal? When things lift, are you going to be equipped and ready? And I've benefited in my life by actually doing things that I went, at the time they seemed crazy, but then when the opportunity was there, I'm ready. I'm ready to accept that new opportunity and to adapt and pivot. And so COVID actually has been a time that, in my business, it's actually grown massively because it's an online business. I was already online, but I've now capitalized on that. I now offer more and more courses. I've actually tapped into how people learn and grow and what their availability is. And you actually go, well, how can I then adapt to the situation? If this is our new normal, then I have to be equipped for that, because the old ways will not work. Some of them are foundational and they will.
That's right.
But a good 20% often you've got to be ready to adjust for the season. And that's what we're in. We're in a different season. And those who are thriving are adapting to that season rather than resisting. You can't want to be a spring flower when you're in the winter, right? You've actually got to go, okay, well, I'm a vibrant fungi and I'm going to be perfectly placed while I'm here. Like that's what's here at the moment. And so I think a lot of challenges in life and in business is actually going, but I want to be in a different space. I want to be part of my journey. I want to resist what is actually happening. And the true achievers, and I know that from my podcast, Memoirs of Successful Women, they don't resist. They actually go, oh, it is what it is. Now, how am I going to adapt to that? So there's an acceptance, not necessarily a delight, not a love of what's happening. It's hard, but they don't resist because the time and the energy while you're resisting, and also that frustration and all of the negative self-talk and the limiting beliefs and all of that activates you're resisting, rather than go, oh, okay, well, here, what do successful people do? They go, here's a new opportunity. How am I going to adjust, pivot, and take it and get everything I can out of this winter time so that I'm ready for the next season? And I agree with you, it's been a very exciting season, which has been really challenging and hard. And that's the thing we need to realize. It is hard. It is challenging. You do feel out of your comfort zone. I've had to learn new skills that I just did not have before. Man, I'm a whiz on building web platforms now and using Canva and doing, whenever you do anything new, you just go, oh my gosh, how does this work? Will everyone realize I don't know what I'm doing? Like, actually get over ourselves. Most people don't. But even if they do, you know what? We're all a work in progress. Dive in, and it's funny. We can have more laughs. I laugh at myself all the time, Toni, because it's funny, and we learn. And then suddenly we're the pro. I spoke on an event about creating online programs, and then I got so much interest from it. I actually what did I do after that speaking summit? I created a course called a Transformational Woman's Guide to Creating Online Courses, and now I'm coaching other people on how to do courses when 5 years ago, I would have went, I don't know how to do that. And so now I'm the expert.
I want to do that.
Course on it, right? And who doesn't have a course in them? Who wants to do that course? And so it's really cool. So my learnings has been, lean into new opportunities and don't be intimidated by them. Actually learn how to nail and scale, right? And have fun along the way.
Yeah. I have to agree with you, Annie. I'm incredibly grateful that the world has now opened up to the idea that it's okay to network on Zoom. It's okay to meet on Zoom. It's accepted to work from home. All of those things are amazing. They give you a balance in life that takes out that travel from, A to B to get to a business meeting when you can just jump on a Zoom and still have the connectedness that you had before, but it's just a new way of doing things. And I understand that lots of people will eventually go back to, live events and live conferences, but for some of us, this will be the way that we do things and stay connected to the global audience, because it's the only way. We can't jump on a plane and go to LA every second day for business. In Australia, we can't do that anyway, but do you know that that's the wonderfulness that's come out of this whole pandemic time? I want to shift our focus now, and both of us are ex-nurses and have corporate industry in experience in corporate health and government level health. I'm wanting to know if you can share with the audience how your career in nursing played out and what it actually led to for you.
Oh, well, my career in nursing was actually a bit of by default, actually. I never, when I was a young girl, I actually wanted to be a businesswoman. My whole childhood, I'm like, I want to be a businesswoman. They dress nicely, they had better lifestyles, they look really cool. And
Yes.
I'm like, why wouldn't I want to be that? And I was always one of those girls who went, I've got lots of potential. I like bossing people around. I think I'd be a good boss, that sort of thing. But then I didn't come from a family who really enforced that. They went and said, well, you couldn't do that because then you wouldn't be a good mom when you have kids, because women who work, well, they're not going to be able to be good mums. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't have kids then. And I'm like, but I want to be a good mum. So a limiting belief, or you don't have the aptitude to be a businesswoman. You're not financially motivated. You're not this, that, whatever. And so I kind of went, so I actually spent my earlier years, my, late teens going, that's a shame I can't do that, because I would have thought I'd be really good at it. Right. And how many of us have had that thing? You actually take it as a truth. Yes. And so therefore, when I finished school, I actually went, okay, well, I'll do something that, my family went, do nursing or teaching. So I actually did nursing. And so I then became a nurse, and I was a fine nurse, and I loved it. Nursing gives you the best foundation. Actually, tell you what, nurses can do anything. It makes you think of things broadly. The most crazy life experiences. You triage absolutely everything. Your mind just gets trained top to bottom. How does this play out?
Agree.
Risk management, communication, personal dynamic, health, time,
dealing with difficult people,
all of that. So nursing is brilliant. But then I suddenly, as you mentioned before, I had two sets of twins. So I was married at 20 while I did my nursing, and then I had twins at 23, and then another set of twins at 25. And I remember sitting back there crying in my lounge room going, I love my babies, but like, how am I ever going to be a businesswoman, right? And I had this moment of like, I'm sure everyone's had those moments of, I really thought deep down I did have potential, even though no one believed in me. But now it's looking pretty hard, even for me, with a killer self-belief at one day, that dare to dream. I was smashed. I'm like going, man, we're going to be poor forever. I wouldn't change anything, but it's pretty crazy to have 4 babies when you're 25 years old. And so it was that funny little concept. So then I went and said, I had my little meltdown with hubby, and he went, you're great, babe, anyway, just the way you are, which you always love. And then I went, all right. And then I had a real moment. I then, after that, went and said, okay, the situation looks like it is impossible, but what can I do? That moment of, well, how do I be my best self? How do I actually prove my naysayers wrong? And how do I be a good mum? How do I actually then go, well, during that, I want to learn more, and I want to see what my best self is. So I actually then just chipped away, and I did it the hard way, right? With 4 kids in tow, I then did on top of my nursing, I did a master's of education. So I started with a diploma of ed, and then became a nursing teacher. And then I went, oh, well, that's cool. I get to manage little things, manage my classroom, learn some skills, and I liked it, and I was good at it. See, this is when you trust in your own skills. Then I went and said, I'm going to do a master's, of which everyone said you don't need a master's where we are. Well, I went, well, I like it. And to be honest, Toni, there's actually a break from kiddies by then. I got to go to uni 2 nights a week. And oh my gosh, like what mum of 4 kids under 2.5 gets a break, right? So, oh my gosh, so I went off there, and over the years, like seriously, I then got my master's, and then I ended up getting picked up. I applied for a job as the national manager for the orthopedic surgeons in Australia. And I got it because they wanted a health educationalist. And I'm like, well, that's me. So I suddenly got this opportunity. And then after like 3 years there, I was still just like pinching myself. Oh my gosh, how did I get so lucky? Whereas it's not like I actually set the seeds, like we were saying before. I did the hard work. And then I went, oh my gosh, I had this another aha moment. I am a manager. I am a leader,
Yeah.
right? This
Yes,
space.
yes,
I
you
just
are.
done
Mhm.
global transformation project with the surgeons program, and then I went and set my
Yeah.
bar higher and went, how do you then become a CEO of a health education organization? So once again, I went and did
Yeah.
company directors, I went and did Lean Six Sigma, I
Yes.
went and did all the little things that I could
Yes.
afford, and I backed myself. Everyone laughed when I think you're already doing better than
Yeah.
you expected, and I went, I don't care. And I
Yeah.
made it a game, which is why my biography is called The Biography of a Curious Woman, because I went, I'll just be curious, because that saves space, right? I kind of
Yes.
used it as a game, went, well, what
Yeah.
if, and what also, even if I don't get it, what will I learn along the way? And
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
I ended up getting that job. So I was CEO of that organization, the Australasian Society for Ultrasound Medicine, for 5 years. And then now
Yeah.
I'm also the CEO of Glaucoma Australia. Plus, I've done consulting,
Yeah.
so which is an eye
Yes.
health charity. And now I go, yeah, how did this young girl who just went, as a kid, I look back and go, that young girl, which is why I do lots of mentoring and coaching with girls from the youngest age, to go, you know what, when you
Yes.
dance around and you have certain quirky ways and people go, don't talk too much, or don't be so loud, or don't be this, or don't be that,
Yeah.
or not this, you go, you know what, when you know it in your heart, that is what we actually have.
Mhm.
We most of our journey getting that smashed out of us, getting older, and then I've got women at the other end who are, sad that they never
Yes.
be who they believed they were, always had a deep desire, always had a dream, felt so sad that it didn't get achieved.
Yes.
And all of them will actually,
Yes.
you tap into them, go, I
Yeah.
knew I loved that when I was a kid. You don't suddenly get to
Yes.
50 and suddenly like painting. You loved art when you're a kid, right? Like our
Oh,
natural
yeah.
nature is always there. And so that's what most of my
Mm.
coaching is framed around now, actually just finding your inner passions, finding your natural attributes,
Yeah.
maxing out on your strengths, outsourcing your weaknesses,
Yes.
dabble on them a little bit, but don't take
Weaknesses.
yourself out over it. And so,
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
where, I help people step by step of how to do that, because I've
Yeah.
had those experiences. I've had zillions of them with just my own journey,
Yeah.
you know, and I can also laugh, because when they're struggling, I go, yeah, like when I had 4 kids in 2.5 years and I'm off to uni and trying to do things, let's face it,
Yes.
really
It's
hard.
hard.
Um,
It's tough
and
as a
it's
mom.
emotional, and you've got to back yourself. And it's so easy to
Yeah.
go, oh, is this selfish?
Mm.
No. Is it, am I going to be
No.
embarrassed? Possibly, but who cares? Who am I measuring
Yes.
my success by? On what terms? Who am I letting influence my potential? And
Yeah.
also now I look
Yeah.
back and go, well, why? You always look back in hindsight and
Yeah.
go, why did I let those negative beliefs anchor me for so long? And it's not their fault. They were doing their journey. But as a healthy adult, that's what we want
Yeah.
to do. We actually want to go, okay, I need to
You
work out
go, that's not
what good do
right.
I take, and what
Mm.
was not serving me
Mm.
well. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cut it off real quick, because I've
Yeah.
got so much space that I want to fill with really cool, interesting things that engage me and help me grow and so on.
Absolutely.
So
Annie, I
nurses,
just
at the
wanted
beginning of
to,
that conversation,
I was
nurses.
just going to say, I was just going to say, Annie, we're in that similar age bracket. So when we left school, there weren't the opportunities. It was
Oh,
teaching, nursing, bank jobs. It was
yes.
very limited, and we weren't encouraged to think outside those traditional boxes. So a lot of us went into nursing. A lot of us were very good at it because many of us were trained in hospitals, and by the time we'd done 3 years nursing, we were running whole wards and managing doctors and a whole range of things, which are incredibly good skills to take into life. But for some of us, like yourself, you always thought that there was more. And it took me to my 50s to go, well, no, yes, I was good at nursing. Yeah, it was okay, but that's not what I'm passionate about. Let's find out what that passion is and create something bigger and better and have more impact. And I guess that leads us to the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's women's empowerment, because I think that women have the capacity to change the world. And if we get more women working and living within their space of passion and purpose, we change the global infrastructure. We change the world. We change the world for our children and our grandchildren. And that's important, isn't it, Annie?
Oh, it's essential, right? I want to leave this planet
Yes.
knowing that, you know, even in my little footprint, which is a tiny footprint, right? But we've all got tiny
Yes.
footprints that collectively make a difference to future generations. How entitled are we to actually just take from this world and not leave it in a better place? Every generation should be leaving it in a better
place.
That's not just environmental, that's actually in, you know, the evolution of who we are, you know, being our best self, striving to be better, not accepting, oh, this is the times and therefore this is the way it is. It is a whole new generation. It is a whole new time now. There is more freedom, if you like, which people have fought hard for and are still continuing to do, if we're looking at diversity and racial issues and you know, domestic violence and other areas that are huge to discuss. So we are constantly, but we need to be empowering others to actually become a collective. And so that's one of the reasons I started my Facebook group called Women Collaborating Globally, because together we have synergy is all about this, you know, the outcome is better than the sum of the parts, right? And that's what we want. And there is a new movement, not just in my group, like throughout millions of these networks that actually go, hey ladies, instead of the environment that we were raised in, which is, I'm not trying to be disparaging, but it was one,
it was what it was,
wasn't encouraging. And also then those women who got to those places were very competitive. They worked so hard to get that one little spot. They were like elbowing us out of the way.
Correct.
And we were seen as a major competitor. And so that's one of my passions. I go, you know what? My view is there's enough business in the whole world. If you are talented and you have a passion for something, you need to seize it. And we can help you be your best self. I know as a CEO of my business, our business outcomes will always do better if everyone is working at their optimum capacity. If you are competing or bringing people down or limiting them, you know, you might think you look better because you have to come in and save the day, but you'll always only get to this level. If you want to get to the dream, if you want to get to the crazy level, then you actually have to release people and then support them and nurture them to be their best self. And so in business and life, women's movement is actually at an exciting time, and there is much work to be done. But with that means, once again, we're stepping into, well, what can I do? What is my one little bit that I can do to empower women to actually be their best self, you know? And I'll do that through my opportunities, even of pro bono coaching and other things, people that I meet and things that I speak at. And, you know, and we can have opportunities that, you know, they don't cost us much, or things that we've already got, you know, help people along the way. You know, rather, if someone comes to you for advice or for mentoring, don't go and say, oh my gosh, if she gets really good in 5 years, she's going to be my competitor. You know, that is just such a limiting way. Actually go, oh my gosh, sweetheart, you've got the goods. You're amazing. You should take that as, because if you are good enough, we need to be constantly pivoting ourselves. If you're always watching what someone else is doing, you should be aware of that, but grow yourself to your best self and also allow them. It's like being in a garden and go, I want everything to be in the right position and everything will have its best place, and you want it all blooming, right? You don't want to just go and say, okay, well, I'll blossom over here, but I want to kill all this section here so they don't creep up on me. You know, so I actually love it. I think any women's empowerment, women's summits that we can speak at, create a movement or culture that these young girls, you know, I've got, you know, 2 out of 5 of my kids are daughters, and so they're in their 20s, and I've got a new granddaughter who's 3 and another one on the way. I want them to go, oh my gosh, women can do anything.
Oh, definitely.
You know, I'm not like Nana here, who 3% of women in corporate CEOs. Like, what's with that? 50% of the planet and only 3% of CEOs. That's not. I don't think that's because we don't actually have the aptitude.
Not okay.
Because there's problems with the system. So we need to fight and put our time and energy and influence behind making those things balanced for the collective good of society, and also encouraging our grandchildren and our kids and our grandchildren to actually go, we won't accept that now. So we were very accepting. It's not being angry or negative, it's actually just going, why?
No,
you know,
it's just,
why wouldn't that be the way it is? Why wouldn't you finish school and go, sweetheart, what do you think would make you happy?
what do you want to do?
What do you actually want to do? if I don't even have an opinion or an influence on that, who are you? And sometimes people know that, and sometimes they have to have a rocky journey to find that out, right?
Yes, to just yes.
You know,
Yeah.
not everyone just gets to 17 and go, oh my gosh, I know what my whole career is going
I
to
want to
be.
do this.
You know,
Yes.
and one of mine had a few pivots, and you go, you know what? But I'm watching Find Yourself, they're happier. You suddenly jump to 30 and you'll get a happier person than those who have done a degree because mum and dad wanted me to. And they're miserable, and it's not actually, it'd be like you or I working in a bank, right? Like, oh my gosh, shoot me now. And so, you know, nothing wrong with that. Like, there've got to be people who
love working in finance.
Exactly. And they should be doing it. But there's other people like us who should be out there, you know, speaking and motivating and encouraging and doing the things that make us happy, because the happier and healthier you are, then those around you will always benefit, right? In fact, I'll even go to the stage of saying, if you are not at your optimum best, you're actually robbing them of, you know, knowing someone who would be yourself. You know, if I actually looked at it a different way, not on myself, because it always feels harder. If I looked at my kids and went, if they were limiting themselves for other people, you know, they're robbing me of the joy of the person that they are, you know. And so I'm super passionate about that. Women need to empower other women always.
I want to just touch back on something you mentioned about, you know, your impact, and it's a small impact in terms of thinking about the globe. However, the thing with impact is, so Annie and I get together and talk on a show. Annie's got her network and her impact. I've got my network and my impact. When we join together without competition, and it explodes the influence that we have on the world. And if that's one thing that we could get across to the women listening today, and the men as well, that when you join together in the absence of competition, the result is much greater, much bigger, and has a much more worldwide rippling effect than you can ever imagine. And you may never imagine. It might be that young woman watching us talk and hearing us speak that goes, oh, wow. And it sparks the idea that they can do and create anything. And if that's all we do, that's magic, because that one person living may grow up to be the president of wherever, or the first Australian. You know, you don't know where that goes. So we keep doing what we're doing for that very reason. If you look at, say, if we take something a bit controversial, Australian politics at the moment, and what's happening in terms of how women have been treated, and the number of women in politics, and the behaviour of politicians. When I look at that, I think, oh my God, we've got a ways to go. But if people like Annie keep speaking on women's empowerment, then that wonderful girl who has aspirations of being the head of a political party, she might just listen and go, hey, this has to change. This is no longer okay. I want to be the one to change it. That's how it works, isn't it, Annie?
That's exactly how it works. And I have the delight, you know, I can actually contact our health minister, you know, Greg Hunt. I can actually go and say, Mr. Hunt, you know, as a head of an eye health charity, you know, are you committed to helping us save sight by reducing preventable blindness?
Yes.
What are we going to do about this? The situation is not okay, you know, and because of the positions that you've allowed yourself to get into, you actually have real opportunity for change. You know, I just spoke on a World Glaucoma Summit, you know, and so globally, that's right. The words that you have, you've got people going, oh my gosh, how does someone in Bangladesh who can't afford it or whatever? Then I go, you can actually come to our website, download our resources, contact us. We're in a global world, and we do need to appreciate that we have so much more influence.
Definitely.
Rather than going, oh, well, I don't know how, you know, to get there. Just go, well, just keep taking those steps and see how far you'll go.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yes.
I remember, you know, when I first started speaking on summits, you know, and then suddenly the lady went and said, oh, we're going out to 53 countries in the world. And I'm like going, oh my gosh. And then through that, then someone then bought my book, and then she read my book, and she contacted me. oh my gosh, like you just gave me inspiration, because I'm thinking, well, if Annie Gibbins can do it with her, when she was 25 with 4 little kitties and
Yes.
navigate it and still
Yes.
be happy and energetic and believe in the creating the impossible, making it possible, then I can do it,
Yes.
and that's what you want. The value of I can is just phenomenal.
Is
It
huge.
changes your life. When you go, it's a shame I can't, I would have thought I could, but then that power of that is so huge on your life,
Taken away.
impact of it. The same as the reverse.
Yeah.
Once you actually had that moment and go, you know what, maybe I can. And then you go from maybe to, well, that works, so maybe I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do
this.
And even when they don't work, the next level of pivot will happen when you go, oh, it didn't work, but gee, I learned a lot. When I actually tinkered with my website, and I made the whole website go down, and then I freaked out, and then I learned, oh, okay, probably a bit too much touch and feel and play. But then you know what? Now I'm a website whiz, because you have those moments. You cry over them.
Learn.
You feel pain over it, and you learn. Same as our gorgeous little toddlers. If they don't run and graze their knees and keep bouncing back, they're not experts overnight.
They don't learn.
Embrace the journey and have a giggle along the way, and don't take yourself too seriously, and ask others to support you and help you. And if they don't, then choose who you spend time with, choose who allow their voice into your head, and that choose what you accept. At the end of the day, we're all the CEO of our own life, right? We can't blame anyone else. The amount of people who actually go, I've had a time because of, that's not gone. It happened. It was terrible. It was sad. I feel your pain, but that's been done now. So you've got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
You've got to go, your future is your sum of days, right? So what are you doing today, day in, day out? What are your habits?
Yeah.
What are you believing? What's your internal narrative in your mind? And how are you feeding your mindset, your growth mindset, to actually be a better version of yourself in the years to come, not just for yourself, but for those who you get to influence, right? And those that you get to serve in business. And you just, I want to serve them well. I want them to be raving fans. I want everyone to come and do my magic transformation programs, because it changed their life. Why wouldn't I want to do that? I actually want to picture. It's really helpful for me to picture that, young girl somewhere goes, oh, because I believed, I then did this amazing step, and it doesn't matter. Not everyone has to climb the biggest mountain. Not everyone. I'm never going to Everest, but I got mountains that are right for me. And so what, with everybody, it might be, this is the damage of comparison, that you go, oh, it's not very good. It's just, you go, you know what, just this for you. If you really want it, that's Everest, right? And then when you get there, yours. Go, okay, well, now every time I know when I go hiking, those false summits, you go, oh gosh, get to the top. And then you get all excited, and then you look up and go, oh, there's more. And then, but you get a different view.
There's another one.
Settle there, and there's always another one, another one, another one. And so we want to actually appreciate that sometimes, you don't want to go to the 5th mountain along because it's intimidating. You actually want to go, okay, well, I've got one little thing. And even if it's not very big,
I'm going to do that.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to start a podcast like I did. I'm going to grow my online learning platform. I'm going to back myself and start becoming a global summit speaker. I'm going to start, becoming an influencer and actually write content that people will value. Now, I have to believe in myself, but I actually then have to take those actions to do it. And I also have to be comfortably uncomfortable that it will be, there will be a time of learning and reflection and growth and epic fails, which are funny. And then you go, yep, and then just keep going.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, Annie, and this has been powerfully true in my own life, that I have had the help, assistance, love, and support from people along the way. And knowing that this is part and parcel of what you're most passionate about, is delivering that coaching and mentoring, particularly to women. For anyone listening today, they should never underestimate the power of having a coach, having a mentor, or being within a supportive community, because it will drive you further. It will challenge your mindset, and it will help. And if you were like me, scared as a mouse to even talk to someone, it gets easier. The more you start to talk and the more your life starts to change, the more your mindset starts to evolve, it gets easier and better. And then you find the next level of coach or mentor, and then the next level, and then the next level, and you keep going. But I encourage you, and Annie's got a special offer for listeners of Radio Tony today. And if you're listening live online, Payo will put the link in the box, but it's for a 30-minute session with Annie. So if you just are looking at your life and thinking, I want better, I want what those girls have got, grab a call with Annie, and she'll just talk through you the various ways. Now, Annie, I want you to tell the audience about, you're not just an international speaker and a best-selling author, you've got courses and membership. Can you quickly tell the audience about what that looks like working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my offer is I have all my courses on an online platform, and so you can join my academy. It's called the Transformation Academy. So for $47
Yes.
a month, you actually get access to every course I've got, 10, 15 courses. I'm putting out a course a month to 6 weeks at the moment. So they continually
Yes.
grow, and you have access to absolutely everything, plus an online community that we then have a live
Yes.
Facebook from me, and webinars, and really exploding in the coaching way. That's more of a group
Yes.
coaching opportunity. Obviously, people can then have one-to-one coaching with me at
Yes.
any time. And let's face it, that does, as you said, skyrocket. It 10x's their success,
It
because
does.
it allows them to go,
It does.
wow, how does this apply directly to me and Annie? I'm like,
Yeah.
the accountability, the coach, the accountability partner, and your best cheerleader, right? So I'll go and say,
Yes.
I'm totally
Yes.
backing you, but have you actually done what you said you were going to do? And usually, if not, why not? And that's where the gold gets unpacked. So I'd love people to come
And
and join my academy.
that
You don't just have,
why,
yeah, yeah. Why
that
is huge,
why
right?
not is
Why not?
often the learning point that you need to get to the next level. And if
Yeah,
you're going along by yourself, my experience is that a coach will find that spot. You'll be
very
humming, trying to
quickly.
figure out what it is, trying to, what is that. A coach will pinpoint that really quickly. And that's the value of coaching and mentoring. And whether you do that in a group or one-on-one is entirely up to the way that you function. For me, one-on-one has always been the best, because one-on-one, I know that I have that coach or mentor's undivided attention, and that works well for me. But for others of my friends, group coaching works really well for them, because they get to learn in an environment that is
Yeah.
a community and supported. And you do both, don't you, Annie?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do both, because that's exactly it. And some people need to be in the group till they get their comfort level up as well before they also go to the one-to-one.
Yes.
It feels scary and
Yes.
intimidating. I don't know
Yes.
why, because it's like the best investment ever. Like, if I could have put myself as my, 21-year-old self and had
Agreed.
something and said, oh my gosh,
Agreed.
you wanted to jump like 10 levels because of my experience.
Yes.
Like, it's like a no-brainer. But saying that, I
Yes.
appreciate that can be challenging. And that's why I have those discovery calls, to actually show people, you're
Yes.
just another person at a different stage of life, but what the value would be. But there's no pressure as well. A lot of people actually
No.
the group, and there's other values of the group too, that you actually learn from a broad range of people, of how other people approach situations, what are their challenges, and you learn
Yes.
from each other as well. So, there's no right or wrong way with coaching. I'm just such a big fan of, I think everybody needs a coach. And the biggest thing with coaching is
I
also
have to agree.
the person who resonates with you. I'm not everyone's cup of
Yes.
tea. You're not everyone, so
No,
you
no.
actually got to go. That's one of the biggest things, that you go, I actually, that person has done the walk further than me in the areas that will understand, will help me, because that's what a coach is actually doing. They're guiding you, they're helping you
Yes.
to be able to do the stepping stones without wasting your time, without wasting your money. And and that's why my 3 words
Yeah.
are be more, achieve more, earn more, because that's what we all want to do.
Yes.
And so coaching will definitely help you 10x that at a rapid rate. And because that's exactly it, because a lot of people also, when you're doing a course, you go, oh yeah, that's interesting. And how many people have been to a keynote talk and got all inspired, and then it's the application, right? So you've got it all.
Yes.
I'm definitely going
Yep.
to do that. But the reality is, that you'll have a lower success rate if you rely on yourself, because if you wanted to do that, you would have done it already. right? So that's it. A lot of
Yeah.
people are already, they'll come to coaching and go, I've tried everything, nothing works. And you go, well, what you've tried doesn't work. So maybe we need to try it differently, or you
Try
need to
something different.
actually, do something different, or do it in a different way, or actually have a look at your foundations. And that's where a lot of my scaffolding of my courses works. You've got to have a really strong foundation so that you've got,
Yeah.
any business, what are you built on? What if you're doing my magic personal, make magic personally course? What are your personal foundations? Because when they're strong, when the winds come, you don't get blown around. You don't just suddenly accept advice because someone bagged you out on something. You just go,
That's
oh well,
right. That's
if
their
you're in
opinion.
business, you've suddenly had a hard time, you go, okay, well, that was unfortunate. I'm not going to get down. I'm not going to think, oh my gosh, what if they sack me? What if this is the end of the world? It's about building strong foundations. And so my two signature courses are called
Definitely.
Make Magic Personally and Make Magic Professionally. And they allow people to just really step by step build their foundations. And then obviously I've got other courses on self-care, mindset,
Yes.
breaking lifelong patterns, creating online courses, pretty much everything I've done in business and life. I'm just
Yes.
now going to be spending the next 10, 20 years
Doing
just offering courses of things that I have learned, because if I can pass them on
Yes.
and help people jump the queue, learn from that
Yeah.
wisdom, that experience and my credentials,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's a gift, right? That's the best investment you're going to have.
Yes.
And that's what I've always
Yeah.
loved. And that's I've valued from the courses that I've done and the people that I've sought
Yeah.
their counsel on, who've really done those, what I call as aha moments. You can spend 5 or 10 years battling something, and then suddenly you meet someone and go, well, have you ever thought of this? Or, well, why are you actually
And
procrastinating? And then you come back and go,
simple.
yeah, why am I? And it's the why that is like the
Yeah.
gold. And then you go, I know, and then and there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anyone. It's actually just saying,
No.
I'm going to stop that. I'm actually going to get
And do
but
something.
what is scary is the step, Toni. That's why we need it.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you go and say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore, but you don't know, well, how do I do it new? How does it work? What are the steps? How long will it take? When will I start feeling happy rather than frustrated? That's where the coaching helps you, because the coaching goes and says, right, well, where you want to go here, and then we break down achievable steps and support you all the way. And then you go, oh, it's actually quite exciting, and we celebrate the wins at every stage. I think too many people wait for the massive goal.
Forget.
If I waited, or you waited for our goal to be that, you had your own show globally, or I was the CEO of a company, or I became this global empowerment coach, then it's a long time waiting, right? I'm the opposite. I'm a party girl. I want to celebrate often. Like, everyone gets a win, I go, woohoo, let's smell the roses, right? Let's appreciate it and value it, because that's a new anchor. That's a new anchor. And we keep doing those strong stepping stones, and you will have valued it so much, you will never let it go. And then you won't go back to where you were, because you go, oh, I've got a new foundation now. And then you'll learn the next one and the next one. And then suddenly you get to a stage and you go, things are easy. A lot of things that I thought used to be hard, now I go, oh, easy, and that's only because you lean into them, you practice them, you experience them.
And you've done the work.
Done the work. And then what is the underpinning benefit here is confidence. Oh my gosh, the amount of people who go, well, they'll go to me, Annie, and I'm running a new course at the moment called Rockstar Confidence. And so that's it. They go, I want to be confident like you. How can you just turn up on a stage and talk in front of thousands of people? And I go, because I trust in my foundations. Because if I have done the work, if I've got the credentials, if I'm not fake, if I'm happy for people to view what I do, not just what I say. If I'm happy with all of that, then I come onto a stage and go, yeah, thank you for this opportunity. And I'm delighted to be here. If I'm not confident if I go, oh, I've tried, but I haven't done the prep. Someone actually better, a little bit trying to be someone I'm not. That's where the confidence cracks. So when people go and say, well, how do I be confident? It's actually working on you build your foundations on yourself personally and professionally. Your confidence will skyrocket, right? Because you go, I trust.
I was just going to say, Annie, that piece that you were just talking about your foundation, it actually sets you up to make decision making around business and life easier. If you know your foundation values, and if your business has a foundation mission and vision, the decisions that you make around your life and business suddenly become easier, because you're always going back to that foundation and going, okay, does that fit with my vision? Well, no, it doesn't. Let it go, and something else will come to replace that. It's a key piece of learning for people listening today, that if you understand your purpose, passion, vision, mission, whatever you like to call that, and create that foundation to begin with, it enables the decision making from that day on to be so much easier, because you won't be waylaid by all the bright, shiny things that come your way, all the opportunities that come your way. And there'll be lots once you start shining your light, and once you start working in your genius zone, is what I like to say. Once you start working in that genius zone, following your life path, people will be drawn to you like moths. You will have offers that you need to go, is this right? Is that right? Should I do this? And then that confidence that Annie was talking about, that confidence comes from knowing this foundational perspective. This is where my business is. This is where my personal life is. No, that's not right for me. No, I'm not going to talk at that conference because it doesn't actually align with me and my vision. And life becomes easier.
Yeah.
Doesn't it,
An
Annie?
example of this, yeah, absolutely. You've nailed it, Toni. So my coaching on that would be that, look at the pattern of how we get results, right? Everyone wants success and everyone wants the outcome. And so, but the pathway to results is that you actually start with, your beliefs. So you'll have your beliefs, which then influence your decisions. You make a decision based on the belief, could I or couldn't I? Then your decisions go to actions, and then they'll go to results. You made a decision, so therefore you acted in a certain way, and then based on those actions, you'll then get your results. So someone who's actually at a high level in their genius zone, will then, why do they look confident and things are effortless? Because if they don't get the result they're wanting, they then work backwards. They actually then go and say, what was the action that I was doing? Oh, maybe I should do another action. And then I go back to, awesome result. And then they flick. And then because they don't have to go back to past the actions to then, was it the decision that I made? And then if the decision was wrong, what was the belief? If you don't know your foundations, which is, your inner beliefs, your values, your inner purpose, your inner passion, what you're great at, what makes your heart, what makes your voice rise, what makes your everything work, then what happens is, where every time you're trying to get success, you're doing a massive leap to it's not working, and then you do this huge leap back to, what's wrong with me, and all your limiting beliefs. So you that's why it's exhausting. And so that's what coaching gets you to do. You don't always have to go back. You're doing a massive effort. It's like, I go, okay, I've got to go all the way back, because now I've been, my foundations are rocky. And so you have to keep exploring them. And usually, because 85% of our brain is our subconscious mind, it'll default to all the negatives. Whereas, that's why. So those who are listening are going, that's why I constantly just get smashed. And that's why you give up on things, because you just go, I kind of thought I'd have the success. I thought I made a decision, I was going to do it, and then I didn't do the actions, and then I didn't get the results. And the reality is, you're not going to until you actually get the foundations built. And once you have that, like if I'm running a company, which I am a couple at the moment, and then you go, I am so crystal clear on our values, our purpose, our mission, what we want to achieve, the KPIs on how we're going to measure it. I tell you what, any little decision happens, I go, how does that relate?
Effortlessly.
It's so effortless, because it's crystal clear, right? It either fits or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then we're going to have to work around, say no, happy to say no. Same as, if someone asks me to work for a company like Coca-Cola, that's not going to work for me, Miss Health Ambassador, right? That's so it's a great job for someone else, but not going to align. If someone asks me to speak on something that I'm not an expert in, I go and say, oh, sorry, I kind of like the challenge, but
No, I'm not
wrong,
going to.
because my brand is authenticity and actually being an expert in the areas that are my genius zone. And so that's the big gold nugget, I think, for your listeners, to actually go, if you're finding it exhausting, if you're tired and overwhelmed and going through this cycle, the cycle usually isn't wrong with your effort in your actions and therefore the results that you're getting. It'll always go back to you're actually having problems with your mindset and your limiting beliefs.
That's right.
Whatever you do, your subconscious mind goes, nah, you're not going to do that. And it's happy and it keeps you in your comfort zone. So you stay permanently uncomfortable in your comfort zone. It's crazy. But
Annie
that's
Gibbins. We are just about out of time. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to my audience on Radio Toni Everyday Business. Just a quick reminder, jump on to Annie's website, Annie Gibbins, that's with an INS.com, and you'll find all the information that you need about her courses and the membership and the one-on-one coaching. I absolutely encourage you, if you're struggling in any way, get yourself a good coach / mentor, and he's got a lot of different ways in which you can work with her. Jump on the website and find out. Annie Gibbins, thank you so much for your time today. It's a real privilege to talk to you on the show. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. That, my friends, is your lot for this week. Bye for now. Bye, Annie.
Bye, Toni.